Well, good morning. You're watching Morning at NTV. Time for us to take note. You're with me, Flavia. And my guest today believes you have to figure out your employability value. And it has a couple of chains that you have to go through to understand for you to determine your employability value. Joining me is Ambrose Chibuka-Muchibi, who's a human performance systems specialist. Good morning, Ambrose.
Good morning, Flavia.
Not a stranger to Morning at NTV.
Not at all. I was here last week. Eh?
Yes,
yes.
Make this home.
Thanks.
By all means. This morning, I really wanted us to discuss the fact that some of us get to a certain point in your career and you think, I should go back to school because maybe the next phase I'm going to might need me to be this educated.
Yes.
And then someone told me, but sometimes it's not necessary. Does experience beat education? I think we'll get into that also later on. And sometimes that might not even be necessary. But also, we talk about career, Ambrose, but some people think they're not going, they don't have a career, they have a job. So let's just start with defining what a career is and what it would look like.
Well, in simple terms, I think a career is what you do with your whole life as a working person, you know. So it's not just limited, yes, to the working environment, but it also brings in the mix of your other life. So the totality of that is really...
So it's not just I have a job,
no,
so I have a career.
No, yeah.
I would think careers consistently growing in a certain field.
It may be, it may not be, because you can grow in a certain field, but also you can decide to have a career shift, you know, and say, I've seen people who have been working with banks and eventually they change and turn to the NGO world, the development industry, or they become teachers and so on. I think the most important thing is, what do I want to live my life for at any given time? Okay? Yeah. So some people will choose to live in one field, to spend in one field their whole working life, and others will decide, perhaps along the way, they don't preset it, like Steve Jobs says, you can't connect the dots by looking forward, you connect it looking backwards. You know, sometimes we take a turn and we didn't deliberately plan for it, but because of the opportunities that unfold along the way of our life, then you tell yourself, okay, I think
career change.
Yeah, I can go this direction. So it doesn't have to be in one field, but it can be in one field.
Actually, I've seen a few people try one thing and take a career change and actually succeed at where they have changed.
That's
the
very
new
true.
Career.
That's very true.
Yeah. So I was going to ask if going back to school is valuable. The answer might be a yes, but I think I would need to know who then needs to go back to school. Is it when I'm deciding on a leadership role in my workspace that I should go back to school? Well, just talk to us about that.
Well, I think it used to be clear who should go back to school before the era we are in now. I like to, in simple terms, code it the 21st century. Before the 21st century, it used to be clear. Now, I think we all don't have that much choice, but to be lifelong and life-wide learners. Whether you're going back to school or you're choosing to learn by other means, you don't have the luxury of not being a continuous learner, because look at how fast things are changing around us, not only in the social life, but especially also in the workspace. You know, if you are to look at NTV, I don't know when NTV started. And today how it is. Is it still structured the same way?
No.
Are you still using the same technology?
No.
Are you still applying the same skills that you entered NTV with? I mean, things are changing very fast. So all of us, we don't have a room for another choice but to be lifelong learners. Now, whether to choose to go back to school or to use the myriads of other means of learning, because the ultimate thing is learning. I know that, yes, our working space is still structured.
Document.
Yes, exactly.
Certificate, diploma, degree.
And you know what's funny? Even the executives who will go to conferences and castigate, you know, the paper chase. When it comes to them recruiting, they still have the same policies that require somebody to have a university degree in order to enter at a certain level, and they still have the same policies that say if you enter with a diploma, you earn so much. They don't give a damn about your productivity.
Or your experience.
Or experience. Yes. Exactly. So the system is still not aligned. It's still misaligned.
Okay, so that's structures actually in some companies who will not give somebody with a certificate or a diploma the same amount as someone with a master's. But those are some of the things to look at. You've said whether you choose to go back to school or use the other avenues of learning. Let's just talk about those other avenues of learning. There are many ways me and the person watching should, you know, use or take advantage of to learn in their workspace or in their career, whatever they choose to do. What are those ways we can learn?
Okay, I think the greatest gift that human beings have in the 21st century, you know, putting, assuming the other factors constant,
okay,
is the internet.
Yes.
Tell me anything you want to learn that is not on the internet, especially that which you need at your workplace, whatever your workplace is. Tell me what it is.
Whatever industry you're in.
And now you'll find that actually some of the institutions we go to acquire these papers, yes, they will give us a certified paper, but they will not give you as much quality as you can learn online. You know that there are universities now which provide all their learning materials for free online. Check out the website of MIT, for example. You go online and you look at these MOOCs, mass open online courses, which are free. You know, you can do a course within 3 weeks, within 6 weeks, within whatever period it is, from a credible university like Leeds. You know, it's free. And if you want the certificate for it, they'll
mail
pay
you
for
something,
it, and then you take it. And if you look at the content, my God, it's well researched, delivered by world-class professors and very experienced business people from all over the world. And that's the quality you are getting. So I've seen a lot of young people. I argue that this is a young people's century. And I've seen a lot of young people who have learned skills that they have used to build successful startups online. They go download, you know, YouTube videos, and they learn coding. Yes. They learn this, they learn that. My wife does cakes, and she learns things from
baking
YouTube.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's true. So of course we are a young country. Biggest percentages are young people, and the biggest complaint is no jobs.
Yeah.
The unemployment rate. And you wrote about the employability value, tools and insights for strategic career positioning. So let's say someone is coming out of university, hasn't been employed before, but is looking to be employed. Would this apply still? Is this value skill still applying to that person?
Absolutely. It is to those, actually. To all of us.
Mostly to those?
Mostly to those. Why? Because there is a lot of talk, and I've read, you know, widely, not only locally, globally, including World Bank publications about employability. And, you know, it staggers me how we blanket employability.
Okay.
And what I've done in that model is to unpack employability.
Unpack it for us.
First of all, employability is occupation specific. I may be highly employable as, for example, a software developer. Yeah? And I will not be highly employable as a teacher. So you don't talk about my employability in a blanket manner. Employability is occupation specific. 2, employability is time specific. So I may be highly employable. Think about the guys in the IT industry who used to be very highly employable 10 years ago in Uganda. Can you bring those same skills that made them highly employable
10 years ago? No.
Now and say, yeah, they are going to make them highly employable?
No.
So it is time specific. And thirdly, employability is space specific. I may be highly employable with my skills, you know, as an OD, organizational development consultant in Kampala. I may be a hotcake in Kampala.
Yes.
I cross over to Nairobi, and there I find an ocean of other globally exposed consultants in the same field, and don't think I'm going to carry the same employability value in Nairobi. So those 3 things are very important for us. So if we are talking about employability, one has to know what is the field or occupation
that I want to be employed
that I want to go in, or a variety of them.
Mm.
And then now you move backwards and ask yourself, okay, how employable am I
in
now?
that
Because
field.
also I have articulated that employability has two dimensions to it. There is the immediate employability value, which is the now. If someone is coming out of university right now, you assess your employability value against a specific occupation or occupations
Yes.
now and say, do I measure up? If I don't measure up, what are my gaps? And then comes in the second dimension, which is the strategic employability value.
Okay.
If I want to be, for example, a systems security analyst, you know, 5 years from now, I want to be a hot cake in there. What will it take for me
to get there? So where do I start?
Myself there. So where do I start? Okay. Where are the gaps in my competencies profile, and how am I going to bridge those gaps? So you identify where you are deficient, and then you deliberately say, okay, I'm now going to learn this. I don't have enough networks. Okay, I'm going to volunteer and make sure I expand, you know, my networks. That's why some people go into these big associations and so on and clubs to basically do that, to expand their networks, because they are strategically looking at where they want to be a couple of years from now.
You know, whatever Ambrose is saying, just keep it at the back of your mind as a young person. You need to plan. Because ideally, if he's saying if you want to be this, work backwards, it means you have to have a plan. You must know where you're going. But so you break down employability value and say there's the knowledge set,
yes,
production skill set,
yes,
personal initiative or work experience, there's exposure, self-mastery and personal branding, mindset, and then social intelligence and capacity for continuous learning.
Right.
Now, I want you to first start with, for example, knowledge set is ideally what I've studied.
Yeah, exactly. What you know in the head here, what you have studied.
And then how is that different from, for example, my intelligence or abilities? Is the social intelligence what I've learned?
Yeah, I mean,
so far?
Social intelligence is basically about how able you are to operate
with other people,
within a social setting with
okay,
other people. So we are talking about your ability to work within an organization, you know, very well as a team player and stuff like that.
And people ignore such things.
But these are the ultimate things.
Yes.
The knowledge, I mean, that one.
You can be brilliant, Ambrose, but get into a workspace and you can't work with people.
Exactly. So that is key. Social intelligence is key. Because you see, social capital is one of the most important 4 capitals, without talking about the financial capital and the physical capital.
You need
social
to have
capital.
This.
So if you don't have a good social intelligence, your social capital is likely to be low. And normally it's not about what we know, it's about who knows us and who we know and who is willing to connect us and who is willing to work with us.
Yeah.
Because you don't grow by yourself.
Some people actually, Ambrose, stay in jobs because of their social intelligence, because they can work with others.
Yes.
But let's talk about self-mastery and personal branding. Do I work on this beforehand for my employability value, and how can I, because as a young person, what kind of resources do they have around them to work on their self-mastery and personal branding?
Thanks. Someone once said it's difficult to conquer oneself. But once that is conquered, everything is conquered. So I think the most important aspect of our wealth is who you are.
Okay.
So I need to understand who am I, and that is basically about personality and character. Where are my capabilities? Where am I weak? What are the things I need to capitalize on? And therefore, when I'm branding myself, I will bring out that which I'm very good at.
Okay.
And that is the one that I sell. It's the one I front. Each one of us has a deficiency.
Yes.
So if you're looking for deficiency, you'll get it from anybody. But people are not buying deficiencies.
They're
buying the strength. So I need to know that. And then I brand myself as such. And that's how I'm going to get employed, or that's how I'm going to get customers. Yes.
So know who you are, your personal, character, what you stand for. Someone said that, we hire people on their moral ground. And I said, well, why would you do that? I said, yeah, because eventually they have to make decisions. And sometimes you'll be in a position where you have to make decisions and your moral ground stands. So then there's personal initiative and work experience. Is this me going to intern somewhere? Is it me sacrificing a year working somewhere? Not good pay, but I am getting to know structures. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it may actually be at your expense. Leave alone the pay. You may be working in the negative in terms of money.
Yeah.
I think you have seen a lot of young Bazungu here with their rucksacks traversing the country. They come here, they get a a gap year
Yeah.
from their universities and come and spend a year or two in Uganda or somewhere else in Africa. And you'll find them in northern Uganda, you'll find them in all awkward places. And what they are doing is building experience. You see, I usually tell young people, being in school is no excuse for not having working experience.
They don't have time, Ambrose.
Well, yeah.
That's what they say.
When
they don't have time.
When your strategy is not well aligned, then you'll not. But at the same time, you'll find young people. I've mentored lots of young people. I taught in university from 2000 to 2005. And I've worked with young people since 1998. And I've mentored lots of them. And you'll find a young person who is leaving university, and on their CV, they have 3 years working experience.
Yes.
Because they have been volunteering, and because they are smart, they know how to record, to be institute record keepers of everything that they do, every small project where they have volunteered and so on, because this is adding to your profile of experience. You will not be the same as the person who has not done it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, 2 things then, the mindset and then capacity for continuous learning. I think you pretty much hinted on capacity for continuous learning, that times are doing this.
Yes, what I said was the means of doing it.
Yes.
But now the capacity for continuous learning is, first of all, do you have the right orientation that you need? I've met people, since 2001 I've been doing organizational development consulting, lots of organizations, all sorts of organizations, and you meet somebody who thinks they have arrived. They see their job.
They know everything.
They see their job as a chair, not as a ladder.
Yeah.
So they don't even have the mindset to learn. They're not hungry at all. So here what I'm talking about is, do you have the hunger to learn? And do you have the capabilities that help you to learn? For example, are you able to do research online? There's some people who are averse to technology, you know. They think, that's for the kids, you know. So are you able to use those tools around us
to help you
learn? Yeah?
Is asking good or the right questions also part of that continuous learning?
Now, I think the ability to ask the right questions is the most important aspect about learning.
Okay.
The most important. And it's the most important, by the way, about leaders. To me, the most brilliant leader is the one who knows how to ask the right questions, not the one who knows how to give the most brilliant answers. The answers are within the people that you lead.
I hear you. So that's the capacity for continuous learning. Are you able to use what's around you to, improve yourself? It's research, but are you able to do it? And then, as you said, the most important one is to ask the right, if you have mastered to ask the right questions, then why not? Now that mindset. Don't we all have a good mindset? We want to be rich, we want to get jobs, we want to do better. That's already a good mindset. Take, for example, a teacher who has become a teacher by the accidents of life. I don't have a passion for teaching, but, my academic accidents anyway led me into teaching. So what's my attitude towards the students? What's my attitude towards even this job? Will I give it my best? Probably not. Maybe yes, maybe no. Because, maybe along the way I might discover something fascinating about teaching and I convert and my mindset changes. And this is the beauty of, people who help others to change their mindsets. That, it's not cast on stone. There are learning processes that you can help people go through, and they begin seeing opportunities where they previously saw darkness. That's a statement that was made by New Vision about my book. to see opportunities where you previously saw darkness. So, mindsets can change. Even if they have been negative, they can become positive. Yeah, to become positive. Okay. And then exposure, I would assume what you've been saying, go out there, meet new people, hear new things, read new things, and Just expose yourself
Yes,
to different
exactly.
environments.
To know not only within the borders of your country, within the borders of your discipline,
Yeah.
but you know what's happening elsewhere in the world, what are the trends, because that is very key. If you're to do strategic career positioning, we live in a global village, for God's sake.
Yes.
I may want to position myself in a global, career, position. So I need to know what's happening in the markets in the US, the markets in all over Africa, and so on. That's part of the exposure, because the choices you make depend on your level of exposure.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So actually where you are now is your level of exposure.
Absolutely.
Oof,
Yeah.
okay. Now, you mentioned the time factor. We talked about career change. I think I would be concerned. I think I asked you this question while you and I were having a discussion, whether you believe there's a big talk about career guidance. When you're going to discuss career, you need to just give career guidance to students. And sometimes that's misunderstood. But my question would be, when is it best to start embedding career guidance in the students' lives? Primary, secondary, university?
You see, career guidance, unfortunately, I've been in that field since '98. It's one of the most bastardized, abused, concepts. Yeah, we have a careers day in schools.
Yes,
yeah? It's mandatory, and what happens? They invite people from different
to talk to the students.
To talk to the students, to talk to them about their experience. Okay, mainly, that's what they do. That's what we do. Talk about your experience.
Yes,
and as if. Yes, that is to share insights, but your experience is not going to be my experience. Give me something more. Help me to think through. Give me work tools to think with, to think about myself, my context, and how I can then plan forward. So, one, I think that career guidance should be embedded within the curriculum. Now, I know that's a tall order for many educationists.
Yeah.
Okay. I have met teachers who need more career guidance than the
students
that they are trying to help.
Interesting.
So that's a whole different thing. But I think career guidance should be embedded in every subject we teach. And that's a pedagogical issue. Pedagogy is, the philosophy and the methods of teaching and learning. And so someone who is teaching or who is designing a curriculum should be in position to say, okay, if I want someone to know that they can build a career around mathematics, I need to build that inquiry into the kind of tasks I give them. So you are not telling them, you are helping them to experience. So the guy who is graduating, for example, with agriculture or botany, will graduate knowing that I can make a fortune out of selling flowers, potted flowers, and so on. Because you gave them an assignment that helps them to explore that, They did research, they know how profitable it is, they know how to start it, they know how to go about it, but it's built within the whole thing. It's not an isolated, talk,
Yes.
So
it's not a one day